And one of my friends asked, by the way, like, how do we know so much? Like, do we have a script? Do we look at the internet? I'm like, no, this is just from our brain.
Yeah.
He was like, whoa.
That's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, shit, is that how professional we sound? He's like, oh, I was sure you had a script. And I was like, damn.
Similar questions. I would say, no, we just in the group chat during the week, we just throw a few ideas, things we want to talk about.
But it's good if they're thinking, like, actually, no, we want them to know it's
completely unscripted, yeah. Welcome to another episode of The Common Room.
Episode 7, we believe.
Episode 7. Today we're just joined by Faima.
It's just the two of us.
And myself, Abid. Unfortunately, we've had a casualty along the way.
Yeah.
RIP and that to...
Screw him.
Yeah, of course.
Can you say screw? Is screw
Yeah.
a swear word?
Yeah,
Okay, then
you can say flunk.
Screw Akram. We can't beat him out like that.
Don't care.
With the red car.
Waste man. Red car. I think that's his sister's car. In case his sister's car gets attacked.
He told me it was Audi A3. It's not.
It is an Audi.
Is it? Oh,
It's
okay. Sure, it's going to be just us chatting about former host.
Exactly. Host?
Former guest.
No, former extra, mate.
Former extra.
He thought he was too big for his boots.
Yeah. But on to names though, it's funny how you have to, like, loads of people of colour, they change their names and they make it more white sounding. Like Daniel, for example. Obviously that's like an Arabic name, Daniel, right?
Yeah, Daniel.
But they become Daniel or they become Danny. I actually know a few. I know 2 of them. And I can see why you would, because it's much easier for your white colleagues or your white schoolmates to, pronounce. But at the same time, I feel like you should stay true to your culture and religion or whatever.
Correct as well.
And
my name's actually pronounced. Not pronounced, but more said.
And I don't think anyone is ever going to be offended by you saying, no, this is how you pronounce my name. If anything, they'll be happy that you're teaching them. Do you know what I mean?
It's not an embarrassing moment at all. It's not. Abid.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
and don't water down your own culture and your own like name or whatever to make things. Like, if they learn to say Tchaikovsky, Schwarzenegger,
Schmidt.
What other big names are there?
Schmidt,
Michelangelo.
that annoys me. 1 syllable.
Yeah.
Bare letters.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually. But if they can learn to say all these complicated white names, then they can easily learn to say
an Asian name.
Faima. Honestly, Faima is such an easy name. I get Faima, Famia, Fatima. So Femur is the worst one. It's a bone.
It's a bone in that body.
Like, why would you call me Femur?
No.
I'm just like, when I get called Femur, I'm not even gonna respond right now.
What do you get for comprehension in school, like? Bro.
I know. I don't get it. But anyways, people, stay true to yourselves and your authentic cultural names. Don't let them anglicize it. Don't let them shorten it. Oh yeah, I was thinking. Did you watch the Met Gala or did you catch any of the coverage?
To be honest, no. I think it was promoted quite well on Snapchat. Yeah, when you scroll through Snapchat.
Yeah,
I think there were a lot of stories.
On Snapchat.
Really?
Yeah.
They just happen to come up, with the celebrities and stuff where they're just there. I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's funny how they catch your attention. It would be like a picture of a full length picture of a woman, more often than not, isn't it? Whether it's Rihanna or Zendaya or Kylie Jenner.
That's true.
And then you're like,
it's always wearing something a bit outrageous.
Yeah, it's either like a close up of their face or a full length picture. But because this is like a formal event, obviously it has to be a full length picture because obviously it's about what they're wearing. Rihanna. So Rihanna wore something that was inspired by the Pope. Did she?
The
hat thing that she wore. It was actually donated to her by one of the I want to say Pope, some religious figure.
There's that one bre.
I don't understand now.
There's that one bre.
Yeah, just that dude. He works in the church.
Yeah. Now look at we looked into it slightly, and they did say they had that whole thing was it was set up under the supervision, we could say.
Yeah.
With the permission.
Of the Vatican. So if you paid attention to the Met Gala this year, you'd know that the theme of it was heavenly bodies, fashion and the Catholic imagination. So basically Catholicism was the theme of the Met Gala. So loads of celebrities like Rihanna, Sarah Jessica Parker wore clothes inspired by the Catholic religion. And our good friend Piers Morgan, a good trusted friend Piers Morgan, took issue with that because he was like, if there was Islam or Judaism that people were, appropriating, they'll be outraged. They'll be like, how can you reduce a religion into a theme? Therefore, you shouldn't use Catholicism as a theme. It's reductive and it's appropriation. And then a lot of other people hit back on Twitter and stuff saying, well, actually, the appropriation doesn't really apply here. And I think I agree. Because, firstly, appropriation is all about power dynamics, and the church is the most powerful institution probably in the world. And also, a lot of the people that were wearing these clothes could very easily be Catholic, and you can't really appropriate something that you're a part of.
That's true.
So I don't white people don't own Catholicism. Do you know what I mean?
They have a ridiculous amount of influence.
They do, and also Catholicism was introduced via colonization. It went to Africa, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because before that they weren't.
No,
there were no Christians.
I don't think they were introduced to religion. As such.
It was forcefully introduced to them, wasn't it? It wasn't like, oh hey, we have this religion, you should learn about it. It was more like, you will do what we do, sort of thing, isn't it? So so of course people inherited that violently. So how can you turn around and be like, oh, and also like we said, it's about power. When for example, when a white person appropriates an item of cultural clothing or whatever, they have the power to, quotation marks, put it on the map.
Yes.
And because we
have so many examples.
We have so many. Yeah,
so
literally.
We had those braids not long ago.
Yeah.
Was it Kim K? Yeah.
Yeah, it's always Kim K or the like. And basically, it's problematic because it takes a white person to make something aesthetically pleasing when the person to whom the item belongs to, the cultural item, when they do it naturally, they never get the praise for it, they never get the credit for it. But when it's on a white body, suddenly it's a lot more appealing. That's where the problem is. But the celebrities that wore the outfits that were inspired by Catholic culture, suddenly people weren't going to look at them and be like, oh my god, I'm going to become Catholic now because Rihanna's wearing this amazing expensive outfit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not gonna hat around.
Yeah, it's not everyone obviously admired it, but it's not one of those things where they were like, oh, it's suddenly cool now. Catholicism is cool now because Rihanna's wearing this. Do you know what I mean? There is no power in it. And secondly, it's about lack of consent as well. Like we said, the Vatican literally gave 50 items of whatever pieces or products, whatever, I don't know, to the celebrities, to the gala. So
these weren't insignificant items. They were
extravagant. Prominent. Yeah.
So there's a little article that said obviously these were St. John's, so Pope Benedict's white silk cape. Embroidered with gold thread, etc. There's the hat, the bishop's hat. Is that Rihanna? That might be the one that Rihanna thing.
Yeah. He literally said she suited it, I gave her my hat or whatever. So literally there was consent from the highest religious figures. So if they haven't complained or they haven't said, oh, this is actually really problematic, what's the issue? They've literally given their permission. When appropriation happens on an everyday level, when Kim K wears her hair in a certain way, or if Kylie Jenner wears a bindi or whatever, she's choosing to take something from a culture she has no interest in, and she hasn't. I mean, I guess in that situation it wouldn't really be possible for her to ask for consent, but she's just taken something just because she wants to, for her own personal benefit, and there was no consent there by the person that the culture belongs to.
The other thing that's obviously worth mentioning is not all the items were actually worn as well.
Yeah.
And some of the ornaments and things, they were actually put on show, exhibition. So yeah, it goes, I think it's alongside. So I think this Met Gala thing, reading into it, it says that it's a kind of like an exhibit. It's an exhibition, so it's not just what we see on Snapchat and on the news. It's not just them wearing the stuff and the theme. It goes further because they have proper exhibitions going along. So they have obviously these things along with fashionable items that go alongside. So I think they need to understand that it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just someone just wearing it.
Yeah,
there's more to it.
Yeah, go back on the cat lady point.
Cat lady,
see what she said.
Yeah, there was an amazing tweet that I saw the other day that was on one of the Twitter moments. So yeah, there was a dude called, I think it was Charlie Sykes.
Yeah, so basically he was saying, why are we not talking about appropriation? Like, why are we not outraged by it? Because obviously in his eyes, he does see it as appropriation. Anyways, someone clapped back saying, well, number one, the Vatican approved and personally donated 50 plus items to the collection, and cultural appropriation requires lack of consent. And the second point was...
Damn.
And the second point was cultural appropriation requires unequal power dynamics in favour of the appropriator. The church is one of the most powerful institutions on earth. So you can't appropriate something that already has bare power. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they're up there.
That's true.
Yeah, it's basically like Crystal Palace trying to like...
No, sorry, this happened a few years ago. Swansea Football Club. The home kit is white.
Yeah.
So it's like... It's not appropriation at all. But what they did was, they were a smaller team and their kit literally replicated Real Madrid's. It was just white with gold trim. And we were like, oh,
that looks familiar.
I was like, where have I seen that before?
So in that case, it's not appropriation, but it's ridiculous. Like saying a much smaller group is trying to, be more powerful than a much bigger group. Like, no, hun.
And the other thing is they asked permission.
What's the problem?
Not only just permission, they were like, "Yo, like we want in this." Let's support you.
Part, yeah, and just on Piers Morgan's point, if it was, if the alternative was Muslim or Jewish themes, if they asked a rabbi, if they asked an imam or whatever, I'm pretty sure they would be like, "No, get out of here." But in this case, that was, it didn't happen.
Or they may possibly ask that, okay, this is our idea. We want to exhibit Islamic culture in this environment, in this environment. What's the best way of going about it? Like, what's our limits? Like, what can we work towards?
Exactly.
Oh, you can use this X, Y, Z. And I'm guessing the same thing might have happened here. They might have asked a few pieces. And they must have said, a bit too far. Let's tone it back a bit.
Yeah. Having said all of this, though, I do think, because obviously I do follow a religion. Obviously I'm Muslim. I don't see why you would make a religion a theme anyway. I think it's disrespectful. I don't think it's appropriation, but it is disrespectful. Like, you are reducing something for like a fashionable evening, and there are loads of devout Catholic followers, and it kind of, for them, it's like, oh, you're kind of just doing this for the night, and you don't really care about
you're taking all the good stuff again.
Again. So like,
please shine some light onto what the actual religion is about.
Yeah, so it's like, it is quite not. It's not very tasteful, basically. But I wouldn't say it's appropriation. Please don't fire me.
Please, I beg you, please.
I need the money. Just kidding, he doesn't pay us. But today he's paid me in samosas, very delicious samosas.
Finally delivered.
Which finally, after 7 episodes.
Yeah.
But none of the other guests. Did you feed them yesterday?
No, I just gave them juice. After juice.
They got juice.
My dad gave them fig rolls. See,
lol. You got the white man food. I got the samosas and the, what do you call it? Pakora.
Pastries. We call them money bags.
The round ones.
We call them money bags, actually.
Money bags.
Money bags.
What are you having? Can I take this off?
No,
this one.
I got some pastries.
Oh god.
Where did I put tissues?
We're having a little break. I kind of want them to hear us eating, especially one individual who does not get food when he's on the show. See you in... Oh, I can spell it. I mean, then again, people can still spell.
People aren't illiterate listeners, They kind of need to spell to get to our podcast.
But it doesn't count as swearing.
Of course not.
Spelling it out.
That's what my sister-in-law does. If she doesn't want to cuss her husband in front of the kids, she'll go, "You are a little shit."
But kids are more perceptive than you think.
Yeah.
When they go to school, like, me,
what's
SHIT? I'd be the worst teacher. I'd give them 2 tight slaps. Honestly.
You give them zapatas.
Some what?
Zapatas. That's what we call it. Like.
I'm here live at the Coach and Anchor, surrounded by ecstatic fans after that incredible match. Beside me is the man of the moment, Ryan, and his Visa contactless card. Ryan, what a move. Can you talk us through it?
Well, I was at the pub and I saw it was 3 deep at the bar and I'm not missing a second of the match, so I tried a new trick and paid like Zlatan. I went above the crowd and tapped over their heads with my Visa contactless. Easy as that.
What a legend.
You want to enjoy every FIFA World Cup moment. We make sure you never miss a second. Pay the fast and easy way with Visa contactless. Subject to bank T's and C's.
So this week is Mental Health Awareness Week to talk about the very important mental health issues and conditions that are otherwise kind of ignored or not talked about. So it's good that we have a week in which we can raise awareness, where people can share their experiences of it, and where people who need help can, can talk about what they've experienced and the supports, the services in place to offer support, that sort of thing. I'm actually writing can I talk about my article?
Yeah.
So I'm writing an article for metro.co.uk about Muslim mental health, because obviously mental health problems it doesn't discriminate against race or religion. So Muslim people are just as affected as non-Muslims. But unfortunately, there's like with most communities, there is a stigma of mental health problems. They're usually quite hush-hush. If someone does have a problem, specifically within the Muslim community, sometimes they're described as having been possessed by jinns and the like. So for example, if someone has, like, as we were saying earlier, if they've got like schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder, which affects their everyday behavior, a lot of the time as Muslim families will be like, oh, she's possessed by a jinn, so we need to do an exorcism and get it out of her, or we have to pray and pray it away, which I understand. Obviously you can pray about all your problems and God will listen, but some things need medical attention. Mental health problems
different means
being one of them, that you can't pray it away and you can't perform an exorcism and hope that it goes away. Like, there needs to be more support, medical support.
I think there's got to be a bit more of a process to it, purely because that just seems to be like you just said, it just seems to be the conclusion. Everyone jumps, it must be a jinn. Okay, let's focus on that.
Yeah.
There can be more praying and stuff. It does play a huge role.
Yeah.
Because, but that's the thing, it plays a role. It's not the sole cause.
Yeah.
You pray to say, let me find the solution. Let me help myself get rid of this, whatever this feeling. Or help my friend or my family member, help them through it. Give me the strength to help them through it, where it may be.
Yeah.
Just offering support goes a huge way.
Yeah, definitely. And also, as soon as you use the J word, like, it's such a taboo, isn't it, that word? Because people are naturally scared of it. Like, it really ostracizes and isolates the victim. Like, if someone is known to have a mental health problem and they get misdiagnosed as having a jinn problem, like, people aren't going to flock to them. If anything, people start staying away from that person, because there's like this, oh my god, that's a scary picture. Why would you pull that up?
I have no idea. I have no.
Abid just okay. Anyways,
I just brought up some BBC articles that have a very eerie image of a lady sitting on the end of a bed. But no, it doesn't.
I'm gonna have nightmares. Thanks for that, Abid.
Cheers. You're welcome.
Giving us nightmares. No, but if someone with a mental health condition is misdiagnosed as having being possessed by a jinn, they are going to get ostracized. They are going to be isolated, and people are not going to flock to them. So, like, their friends might abandon them, their family members might abandon them, like, stop coming to their house or whatever, because suddenly their house is seen as like possessed or whatever. And I think
a breeding ground.
A breeding ground. And the consensus is kind of like, if you go there, if you go near them, you will get possessed too. Which I don't think it works like that. It's not like osmosis.
Not like that, no.
Do you know what I mean? So if you are saying someone has, jinn problems, first of all, you're making them even more vulnerable. They're not getting the support that they need, and they're not getting support from like their family and friends as well. So it's really not helping anyone. So in those situations, if you do know someone who is suffering, first of all, talk to them about what they're experiencing, see what their perspective is, what they're actually feeling or thinking, and then ask them, like,
ask them what they need.
Yeah.
It could just be simply that they have been asked, they've just been told, oh, do this, do that. But have they actually been asked that, like, what can we do to help you? It might be something just as small as this, you come and visit me for a bit.
Yeah.
Because
100%. Unfortunately, the people that do suffer from mental health problems, they get very good at hiding it. Like, I know someone, I don't want to give them away, but I know someone who has panic attacks at work, who literally freaks out, has these episodes and stuff, and looking at her, you can't tell because she keeps it so well together. And like I wouldn't really know about it like until she like explained everything. And the thing is, like, you don't often, because people, they put on such a face, like such a front, like you don't realize that they're going through all these things because they take such huge measures to make it look like they're fine. And so that makes it really hard for friends and family, like members, to spot it, because you can't notice something that isn't visible.
You don't have enough to go off.
Yeah.
You get an inclination that there's something off that day, but minor.
Yeah, everyone has bad days, right? But if there is a certain friend or family member that you know that you haven't heard from in a while, and it's like unusual, or like you haven't seen them for a while, or they don't come out anymore, or when you call them or when you speak to them, they're always like, I want to go to sleep, or I'm tired. Maybe that's a time where you try a bit harder, maybe up your game in terms of being like there for them. But yeah, if you do know someone who's being more quiet than usual, isn't coming out, you don't see them anymore, and they're very like, on social media is it's quite telling as well if they're being really inactive. It's not to say that everyone who deactivates their Instagram is going through issues, but if someone is being particularly distant or being, just seek out, I guess.
Seek out help,
see what the, try and stay in touch with them. Like, I'm not saying that talking to people will get rid of their problems, but it can really help like them feel less alone.
The stigma behind obviously mental health, and the association with that in a more religious context with jinns. Again, like we mentioned, it just seems to be the easy answer to be like, oh, it's jinns, let's do this. It's hard because jinns is something we believe in, that we understand is there. However, I don't think we fully understand what the role jinns play and their full capabilities to our own knowledge. So I think that not to our own knowledge, to an extent. So therefore, we feel as though we just assume and make that connection between mental health and jinn, because it's like, mental health, that's something that's unseen. Let's associate to this.
It's fear of the unknown, and you kind of collate the two together because they're both unknown.
Let's there must be a link. But
it's quite dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, very dangerous association. But then you have to think about more chemical levels though, because there are things going on. There are scientific studies that say when someone is doing a particular thing, it gets to the brain. For example, there's one gentleman that I saw. He did a dissertation, I believe it was, on the effect of depression and LSD, the link between them. Now, his research, I don't think it was definitive. However, he did mention that LSD does have a positive impact with people with depression. Now, how he described depression to me anyway that day, was that think of your mental state, the things that you normally have, the balances, the things that are going on a level. Think of like an audio, all the spikes and everything that's going on, the levels. In a normal person, there's a lot of random flows that we have, which keeps us in check, keeps our emotions going. However, in a person who's in a depressed state, it's uniform. It's like they're stuck. They are mentally stuck. They have the chemical, those levels, they're stuck. They're not moving much, or they're going through the same process. It's a loop that they have. And you mentioned that LSD actually breaks that cycle. It makes them, when they go trippy, that kind of thing, they start hallucinating.
So Abid, are you saying we should all take drugs?
We should all take controlled amounts of LSD whenever. Actually, you know what?
All the drugs for all the people. Abid is advocating for drugs. LSD.
And mental health, as in the physical sense, as in although mental health is something we can't physically see, there are physical solutions that we can do. Of course, it depends on what the diagnosis is, because there are different solutions to different types of state. However, I genuinely believe it is something that we need to educate ourselves more on. Yeah. Purely
even talking now, I wasn't even sure what I was saying, what advice I was giving, because alhamdulillah, I haven't experienced any mental health problems, and I don't know anybody I don't know anybody personally in my circle who there probably is people.
But they're so well at hiding it.
I wouldn't know if they were to tell me like, I've been experiencing panic attacks and stuff like that. I'll be like, oh my god, I literally didn't know. So, like you said, we do need to educate ourselves. We need to look out for the signs. If you can, try and use this week maybe, because there are loads of opinion pieces and like first account narratives of people on social media and stuff talking about their problems. If anything, read them, listen to. There's so many podcasts. There's a podcast on. Can I advertise another podcast? I don't want to lose our viewers.
They're not giving us revenue, so it's fine.
My editor has a podcast. It's called Mentally Yours, and she runs it with another one of my colleagues who has bipolar disorder. The two of them have obviously mental health conditions between them, and they talk about their experiences. But they're not the only one. My point is, there's loads on social media. There's loads on the podcast app. So there's loads of people on social media talking about, especially on Twitter and stuff, their anxiety, their bipolar disorders. OCD is a really big one as well. Depression, things like that. We need to take that seriously. I know some of the words we use really casually, like, I'm depressed, I didn't get my A or what grade or whatever. We use those words really lightly, but there are obviously some people who legitimately go through depression. So try and learn more about their condition, see how you can be a better friend to them. What are you going to say?
I was going to mention social media. Now, obviously, you mentioned, I think, due to the involvement of social media, I believe it has become more common, but I don't think it's become, hearing about it has become more common. I don't think the condition itself has become more common. So because what's happened is they've heard people online, literally someone from across the world explaining in a very comprehensive way what it feels like to be depressed, and someone would watch that and be like, I was never able to explain to someone, however, this is the perfect way how I'm feeling. Like, surely now I can come out and say, yo, look, this is exactly how I feel. I was unable to express it in a certain way, but this is it. Like, can you guys help me? Is there something I can do? So I think again, I feel as though social media has played a massive role in raising awareness. I also believe social media has played a role in contributing towards mental health issues.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because Instagram is giving people anxiety. It's giving people complexes, inferiority
unnecessary
complexes.
Ones as well.
Yeah. So there is pros and cons to social media. My only advice would be is use it in small measures. Like, try. Then again, if you are getting a lot of support from social media, should you really limit it? If it's like a source of comfort for you, should you limit it?
I think it's the good and bad. You should look at social media and be the accounts that I follow, do they benefit me in any way?
Yeah, I guess you're very right. You should police who you follow and how much you consume. If you find that following certain Instagram accounts is triggering for your health, then maybe unfollow that account, maybe deactivate your Instagram, but keep your Twitter if it's particularly helpful towards mental health catharsis. That's a good word. Because loads of people do find Twitter really helpful for mental health.
Massively.
Because I think it's different on Twitter because you're writing, and whereas on Instagram it's pictures. You're literally looking at other people who might look a certain way, who you might be jealous of that, and that might give you a complex. Yeah.
Maybe that's why Twitter is something that has become so popular and more enjoyable.
I really thought Twitter had reached its peak, and I thought it is losing followers, don't get me wrong. People aren't signing up as much as they did, but I really thought it peaked and that it wasn't going to be as popular. But now that there's, I'm sure you've heard of Muslim Twitter, Black Twitter, and and now there's all these other little segments, groups and stuff, like mental health, people who have issues and people who have support groups and stuff, which is good. And I think for that reason, Twitter is actually one of my favourite apps now, and I love it. You can get everything on Twitter: memes, jokes, support, ways to raise awareness, ways to raise your own profile, your professional work.
There was a brilliant tweet the other day that I read, which said, "Time to read the morning paper," and it was literally them. Open it to her.
Oh my god! That's such a good comparison. That's what it is. Exactly. I literally wake up and I'll look at my notifications. Then I'll go on Twitter, see who's died, what's happening. Go to Twitter moments.
Oh, who dead? Who dead?
It is our version of opening the morning paper.
The Metro when we're doing thing,
yeah. But still, man, you should still buy newspapers.
Yeah.
Some of us journalists need
the peas, man.
Need peas. So keep reading the news, please, not just Twitter. Yeah, thanks.
Just to go back to obviously Mental Health Week, which we're in at the moment, they've just logging onto their website. They're focusing this year on stress, and I feel as though stress plays a massive role. The reason why I think stress is important in everyone's life is the way people view stress. For example, some people are complete. They thrive on that stress. They Like I've seen people who are, that's their drug. The stress is their drug to be like, this is it. This is what I live for. Like, I need to know what to do. This gives me a purpose essentially, and that's where they produce some of their best work.
Yeah.
But then at that same stress can be viewed massively different by someone else, and then that can lead to things like mental health issues. For example, let's talk about something that's quite common amongst everyone, which is jobs which require high pressure work, under pressure. Whether it is from, like in your profession, editors, there may be
in the
a journalist. I'm
in
sure.
the newsroom, there's a lot of pressure, depending on what publication you work for as well. Some
You mentioned
days are
something
harder
like
than
breaking,
most.
if you're not in breaking news.
Breaking news obviously is one of the more difficult things to deal with, just because you need to get information up as soon as possible, and you have to try and beat other publications. Well, I don't work for the news desk, so breaking news stories would be dealt with them. But you can see there's such a tense environment. Again, depends where you work. But literally, as soon as something breaks, someone will be like, "Oh, have you got? I need a breaking news banner," which means that the image,
The yellow
the
thing.
breaking, so for
Take a bar,
the picture,
the whole thing.
because more often than not, when news breaks, you might have a small snippet of information, but you have no pictures. But every news story needs a picture, so the banner will be literally the words "breaking news." I'm sure you've seen it on the BBC.
Yeah.
Every news outlet has their version of a breaking news banner. So when that happens for like news reporters, they have to literally like try and first of all like get as much information as possible, call up the right people, go down there. When Grenfell happened, my office is in High Street, Kensington, which is obviously near. It's in Westminster. So it was close, and it was obviously during the night shift. With news outlets, there's always 24/7 shifts. So the night shift reporters, some of them had to go down there, and they were reporting live, updating the Twitter account. They were feeding information back into the writers in the office. So it has to be like that. That's a lot of stress because you're seeing something unfolding in front of you. You're feeding it back to the office. They're writing it. They have to make sure there's no mistakes.
As I say, accuracy plays a huge role.
Accuracy is so important. Some outlets care about it more than others. But no, that's obviously a very high pressured environment. And I can see why certain journalists would have certain mental health issues because of that constant pressure. Again, it depends what level you're at, what you do, what you're expected to do. But some people, like you said, do thrive on it. They enjoy that, the rush. Like some people that don't even work, for example, like if they, during the London Bridge attacks, some reporters weren't working that day because they love the rush of writing. They literally will come in on the day off and they will write about it.
Wow.
Because they feel that's my job. Writing news is what I do. I don't care if it's a Saturday night. I don't care if it's Saturday night, 3 o'clock in the morning. Something has happened. I'm going to go into the office. And that's actually like a respected thing to do. That's what it's seen as, a respected thing to do.
It's your profession
because you love it so much. You want to commit to it, which I agree with. Like I think obviously you should take care in what you do. At the same time, though, I feel like your work shouldn't be your life. If it is like a Saturday night and you're with your family, why are you going to leave that to come into work? And because there are people that will do it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's really important to separate work and personal life.
That's stress.
Because I know some people that are spending 13-hour shifts even though they're only getting paid for 9. I'm like, why are you doing that? I get that you've got the pressure and you've got to do a good job, but at what expense?
It comes at a massive cost.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand, like, okay, cool, do it once or twice, fine. But when you're banging it out for maybe 4 or 5 days a week for 4 months in a row, that's going to get to you. You've lost a lot of precious time. Yeah, it does catch up.
Yeah, and it affects your relations. If you're constantly because by the time you get home, you're going to be too tired.
Yeah, to do anything.
If your friends are like, let's go out for dinner, you'll be like, no, I'm just on a 12-hour shift. I can't be asked. And that's going to have an effect on them, on you, and eventually it's going to push people away. So yes, establish a healthy balance between work, professional, and personal life.
1 in 4 children believe potatoes grow on trees. 1 in 5 children believe fish fingers are made from chicken. And 1 in 8 adults believe the moon landings didn't happen. People believe all sorts of strange things. Some people believe that insurance companies try to avoid paying claims. But last year, Zurich paid 99% of insurance claims made by their UK customers. Zurich, an insurance company you can believe in. To find out more, visit zurich.co.uk/99.
Who knows what an incel is? I'll tell
back to
you.
that.
Okay, incel is the brand new internet word, and it stands for, it's one word, but it's basically two words put together. It stands for involuntarily celibate, which basically means people who are not having sex and not through choice. Unfortunately, there's been a growing cult of incels online, and where they would have previously been quite unthreatening and not very harmful, now they're gaining traction and they're becoming very violent, very dangerous. Like the attacks in Toronto, in which how many people died?
I think it was
six people were killed. I think they were mostly women, right? Well, anyways, the idea is there was a bunch of incels.
Yes, mass murder.
Was it mass murder? Yeah.
Elliot Roger in Toronto, 2014.
And the thing is, these mass murderers are worshipped on these forums of like these, and they're like really, really dark comments, humor, where they kind of aspire to be this misogynistic guy who his name is Elliot Roger, and he had all these misogynistic views, like women, well, they weren't having sex with him basically, and he was just like not happy with that. Wow. Okay, so Elliot Roger, who was 22 years old, who killed a bunch of people and then killed himself, was a student and the son of Hollywood filmmaker Peter Roger, who was assistant director of the Hunger Games. Mind blown. Wow, they kept that one quiet.
Yeah.
If they were black, if he was black, literally that guy,
everywhere.
the director would not get another film ever again because they'd be like, your son is a murderer? Yeah. Hello.
It says police said that Elliot Roger had stabbed 3 male roommates to death at his apartment.
Male roommates, okay.
Oh, I think that comes down to,
But I don't know if Elliot Roger identified as an incel, because this was in 2014.
Yeah.
His
but maybe it's showing signs.
But so he shared those similar views of incels, which is misogynistic views against women. And for anybody who doesn't know, misogyny means hatred against women, and it's not always like really violent ones like the ones here where they murder women. It's usually like just attitudes and behaviors towards women and making them feel like a lesser, inferior sex. And these guys, the problem is they think that they're entitled to attention from women, and that when they don't get it, they kind of group together and they're like, oh yeah, women, they're bitches. And they literally call attractive women Stacies. They're grouping attractive women that don't give them attention as Stacies, and attractive men men that are conventionally good looking, they call the Chad. So what they've done is they've broken down gender and like really oversimplistically called it two things. You can either be like a Chad or a Stacey, or like themselves incel, which is what's a fake cell?
Oh, fake cell.
Oh yeah. So like they've gone on to such a stage where like they don't even want to associate with women anymore, because it says here anyone who successfully interacts with women is instantly branded a fake cell, meaning fake incel. So now they're getting pride from being involuntarily celibate. They're owning it.
Either one of us, you can't make it out. As in, that's it. You're meant to stay in this eternal state of negativity and feeling sorry for yourself, kind of thing. Yeah.
So for them, women are the enemy, and to be a part of it, you also have to be misogynistic and hate women, and that's dangerous, especially when you consider like they're actually becoming terrorists and killing people in the name of it. It's crazy.
Leading to that, because everyone's interpretation is different. I'm not trying to be sympathetic towards it, also be an apologist for them, but the first one just might have thought, I just need to do something. I can't be unlawful or anything at all. Oh, actually, this will bring back something back. Actually, it was just yesterday. I was listening to an LBC interview, and it was about stalking, and it was about women who have been genuinely stalked. But there was a point where there was an incident where a lady, she was being stalked, and what had happened was she was being threatened in a sense where dead animals were being sent to her address.
Oh, God.
And there were messages attached to it saying, this is what I'm going to do to your body, this is what I'm going to impale you, all of this. She'd called the police several times, but then technically the person didn't do anything illegal, but then it is psychological torture, isn't it?
It is psychological torture.
It's not.
But the sick thing is, some men get a lot of satisfaction from watching women squeal and squirm. Like, it's like the Twitter post that we read the other day. This guy was describing in great detail how he likes to follow certain women. He gets close enough to them to freak them out and for them to notice that he's following them, but not so close that he poses a threat. And for him, that's so, like, thrilling, because he likes to watch their...
He feeds off it.
Yeah, he literally thrives off their fear. Like, he'll watch them quicken their steps. He'd watch them turn around and try to be subtle and see if he's still following them. And then he'll see them.
He says he describes
and he likes it when he gets
walks close enough.
Yeah.
So she knows he's there.
Yeah, and he likes when she gets her keys out.
In a
panic to like defend herself. He loves seeing that because he just, I don't know, he gets some weird kick out of it.
And it was weird in that description. He says that, I have no intention of raping or touching
Yeah.
but it's just that's my edge.
Because that shows that even he thinks rape and violence is bad, but at the same time he doesn't see what he's doing as threatening or dangerous. Kind of psychologically scarring if you're being followed. Like, there's so many things going through your head, and it's such a scary feeling. I know, because that has happened. It has happened to every woman probably, where they've been followed or like eyed up in a very like uncomfortable way, and it's not pleasant. And the fact that there's people out there who enjoy making women feel like that, and maybe even vulnerable men feel like that, it's just disgusting. And I really hope that this incel group thing dies down. Like, I don't want it to be like a big growing thing. Maybe we shouldn't talk about them and give them a platform, but at the same time it's kind of to raise...
I think that's the more important issue, to raise awareness. That this sort of stuff does happen.
And you know what the sad thing is? Women are so conditioned to be like nullify the situation and like convince themselves, but what if he's just a normal dude? I don't want to make another dude feel uncomfortable. I don't want to call out a person who is not trying to hurt me. That's so embarrassing for me. It's damaging for them. Like, they try to, do you know what I'm saying? They try to reason. It's like when you're on like the underground, London Underground, and if you feel someone has touched you, like, more often than not, the woman is not going to report it because she's going to be like, oh my god, what if he didn't mean to do it? You start making excuses for them. So when you're being followed,
just a train rock.
It was an accident. Of course, he didn't mean to grab me, or maybe it was a woman. She did it accidentally. Blah blah. But when you're being followed, you try to tell yourself, he's not following me. Maybe he's going the same direction as me. Blah blah blah. But like you said, if you feel like someone's getting too close to you, then most likely they are being a creep, and maybe they're doing it for like their own satisfaction, which is creepy as fuck. And I'm not sure what you can do in that situation, because it's not like we can carry... Well, loads of people are advised to carry pepper spray.
Yes, I've heard
but at the same time, you don't want to spray the passerby who's your neighbour. Like,
oh shit, Gareth, my bad.
Sorry, Gareth. But yeah, I tend to like carry my keys between my knuckles, which is a very, very popular thing. Girls do it. If you ever look... Abid, I'm not recommending it. Don't try to follow someone just to figure out, just to see what they do. But it's a tough situation, and I don't know what the actual solution is. Just be vigilant out there, folks.
Definitely.
And dudes who are following girls, stop being a fucking creep. Just don't do it. To conclude,
yes.
Don't be a creep.
That too.
Don't be an incel.
That too.
On a more serious note, raise awareness for anyone suffering from mental health conditions. Try to be an advocate for awareness. Try to support those around you. Try and
try and educate yourself as well.
Try and educate yourself. Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, we don't know much about it ourselves. But
the more you know, the less you fear.
Yeah, that's a good line. Bars, fam.
Right.
Bars for days.
I'm trying to shit down. Where's our pen?
The more you know, the less you have to fear. I like that. And don't appropriate.
Peace.
Peace.